Welcome to Kung Fu Havoc number 2. I am your host, Echo Fang Grey Wolf. This is the last video of the night, and this is also Black History's second day. In other words, Groundhog Day. So, honorable mention before I do a black superhero from Marvel or DC. I did do a video earlier today about 4 or 5 black G.I. Joes. We're going to talk on that in a minute. But before we do that, an honorable mention. The baddest black man, in my opinion, and a real life person, John Henry. So I picked up this Thor hammer specifically for old John Henry. First, we're going to do the folklore song, and then we're going to talk about John Henry. We're going to talk about the movie that wasn't because of certain rumors, and then we're going to talk about a few black super cartoon characters, and then we're going to call it a day. Okay? So, let's go. And I don't know all the words because my 52-year-old brain has forgotten some shit. Or a lot of shit. But here we go. Old John Henry was a steel driving man. He could lay metal and track better than nobody else can. Old John Henry, old John Henry, old John Henry was a steel driving man. He died on the railroad with his hammer in his hand. Old John Henry was a steel driving man. There came a day with a steam engine lay, and old John Henry would win on this day. Him and the machine went brick for brick, laying down that railroad track. Nobody gave a shit, but old John Henry never ran out of gas. He was banging that metal and that wood and that steel really fast. And the steam compressor died, but Henry kept it alive. He kept laying that brick and laying that rail until he finally died. So old John Henry, old John Henry, old John Henry was a steel driving man. Also, now, based on that, in case you aren't aware, John Henry Irons. John Henry Irons was inspired by old John Henry. John Henry Irons, saved by Superman, was a steel worker and became steel. Thank you guys for watching on that. Now let's talk about some black G.I. Joe characters so we can end this video. The number one black G.I. Joe, the first one you actually see is Stalker. But before that, you see, you see Stalker as the first black G.I. Joe. But then, as the show goes on, you meet Roadblock, you meet Doc, and you meet Iceberg. Alright? So, that's how that shit goes. Now, the whole point is, when it comes down to G.I. Joe, people tend to remember Stalker and Roadblock and Iceberg, and they rarely remember Doc. And I don't know if Alpine counts as black, because Alpine is extremely light, and ain't too many black people in the mountain climbing. So, Alpine's questionable. But let's talk about Doc, Stalker, Roadblock, and Iceberg. Alright, so Iceberg's from Texas, and he likes the snow. Alright? Yeah, Iceberg's a commodity. And then let's talk about Doc. Doc was the first black doctor on G.I. Joe. So, everybody likes Doc. I'm still trying to find that Doc action figure. Now, we're going to talk about Stalker. Stalker's one of the more prominent Green Beret G.I. Joes that you get to see when the cartoon first takes off. In the first episode, Stalker's the first black G.I. Joe you see. Later down the road, you will see Roadblock and Hyundai Lou, and Roadblock's a pivotal figure. Just like later on in the 90s, Heavy Duty became a pivotal figure. But there's at least 5 to 7 black G.I. Joes. I don't know all of their names. But I do know you got Stalker, Roadblock, Doc, Iceberg, Alpine is questionable, and there's a couple other black Joes from the 90s whose names like Hardball, and there's another guy. But they don't really make too many appearances in the cartoons before the 90s. Anyway, that being said, I do owe you guys one actual more video. So we're going to remove this location. We're going to go downstairs. And we're going to go out that back door. And we're going to look at that fucking snow. Anyway, that being said, I'm Echo Fan Grey Wolf. Thank you guys for watching. Be seeing you.